Welcome to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Reverend Doug McCusker, and I am delighted to be your guest worship leader this morning. We are grateful to have all of you here with us today, in person and online. No matter what you believe, whom you love, or your background and circumstances, you are welcome. We have the joy of coming together, and we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome here. So please reach out and greet those who are near to you this morning. Isn't it nice to greet and hug and shake hands and see the smiles on each other's faces? Do we have anyone on Zoom this morning?
Yes, this morning so far we have Betsy Simmons, Christy G., Ellen Blanchett, Iona Truesdale, Jane Metzoff, Link Hurst, Matthew J., and Trudy Ralph.
All right. Hello, everyone. So glad you could be with us. On a quick practical note, you'll find listed in the order of service several important announcements about upcoming activities at All Souls. So please check the inserts if there are any, or just the order of service for details. If this is your first visit here, you are welcome to sign our guest book in the narthex, which is in the front of the building, so we can keep you posted with our weekly newsletter. There you'll find a lot more information about the goings-on here at the congregation. You can also find information in the pamphlet and all the pews, and you're welcome to join us for social hour after the service. And now, I invite everyone to simply breathe. Take in a warm, deep, slow breath. And just as slowly exhale. Come into this room. Be present. Be focused. And be at peace. In the words of Reverend Kathleen McTeague, we come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives. To resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim ourselves, awareness, and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see communion. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together. Let us take this time for quiet reflection as we listen in silence to the prelude. I invite Taylor Ortiz to come forward and light the chalice as I share these opening words. In this small flame dwell the beacon light of lanterns guiding travelers home, the warmth of hearth fires tendered through the generations, the transforming energy of furnaces, and the power and life of our sun. May these blessings, warmth and light and life-giving energy, be kindled in each of us. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able to sing our opening hymn, number 256, Winter Night. You'll find it in the gray hymnal. Please join me in reading together out loud our All Souls Covenant, which you will find in your order of service. In this house, we covenant with one another to build our connections on a foundation of love, hope, and faith, to accept responsibility for our individual acts and work together to promote equity, equality, and peace, to stand on the side of love, embracing the liberation of the oppressed and championing all movements to end discrimination, to communicate with kindness, support, to serve with compassion and commitment, to listen respectfully with an open mind and value our diversity as a source of our communal strength, to learn together and grow together, to insert our time, talents, and treasures, to celebrate the joys of discovery, embracing the fullest measure of our humanity, from the wonder of youth to the wisdom of age, to openly share our laughter and our tears, showing reverence for the divine in all that is. Trouble is an interesting word. It derives from a 13th century French verb meaning to stir up, to make cloudy, to disturb. We, all of us on this planet, live in disturbing times, mixed up, troubled, and turbid times. The task is to become capable with each other in all of our bumptious kinds of response. The task is to make kin in lines of inventive connection as a practice of learning to live and die well in each other in this thick present. Our task is to make trouble, to stir up potent response to devastating events, as well as to settle troubled waters and rebuild quiet places. Those are the words of Donna Haraway. And I believe that she sums up a lot of what we do here at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. To coin the phrase from the late human rights icon, Representative John Lewis, make good trouble. To be in solidarity with the oppressed, the marginalized, those who are being rolled over by systematic forces of power and greed. That is the gritty side of love, a willingness to speak out, provide comfort, and show up. As with all things worth doing right, it comes with a cost, with a risk. That's what it means to truly be in solidarity with those who are constantly at risk. In these troubling and turbid times, the threat of violence against houses of worship is an unfortunate reality. But we can take prudent steps to manage our risk so that we can be a sanctuary for all who enter our doors seeking peace and inner wisdom. And thankfully, we don't need to do this alone. There are tons of resources, lots of congregations, churches, fellowships, mosques, you name it, who have had to figure out what to do in the face of this problem. There are organizations, interfaith groups, all kinds of things that are available. There are grants from the government, from state government, to fund things that we would need to make us more safe and secure. So understanding the task at hand, the All Souls Church Board of Trustees established a safety team that has been researching appropriate measures that balance safety with our long-standing calling to be a welcoming and loving congregation. In the coming weeks, you will notice some changes in operating procedures as well as physical security around the building and grounds. And today, right after the service, the safety team will be leading a meeting here in the sanctuary to discuss these proposed changes and to gather your insight and feedback. If you are able, please get your hot beverage of choice and then return to the pews for this important conversation. And now, let us prepare ourselves for a beautiful offertory from our wonderful All Souls Choir. One moment, I forgot something. It's very important. Every week in our church, we take up an offering, which gives us an opportunity to exercise the generosity of spirit that supports All Souls and our ministries. If you are visiting today, you are our guest. So feel free to let the plate pass. We see this act of giving, of growing more generous in our hearts and in our actions as essential to our spiritual well-being. So now, we will receive this morning's offering.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because the visions of wayward feet, and it sees all my lost feet.
Our reading is Light and Dark, Dark and Light by Jackie James. Blackmail, blacklist, black mark, Black Monday, black mood, black-hearted, black plague, black mass, black market. Good guys wear white. Bad guys wear black. We fear black cats and the dark continent, but it's okay to tell a white lie. Lily white hands are coveted. It's great to be pure as driven snow. Angels and brides wear white. Devil's food cake is chocolate. Angel's food cake is white. We shape language, and we are shaped by it. In our culture, white is esteemed. It is heavenly, sunlight, clean, pure, immaculate, innocent, and beautiful. And at the same time, black is evil, wicked, gloomy, depressing, angry, sullen. Ascribing negative and positive values to black and white enhances the institutionalization of this culture's racism. Let us acknowledge the negative connotations of whiteness. White things can be soft, vulnerable, pallid, sickly, and ashen. Light can be blinding, bleaching, enervating. Conversely, we must acknowledge that darkness has a redemptive character, that in darkness there is power and beauty. The dark nurtured and protected us before our birth. Welcome, darkness. Don't be afraid of it or deny it. Darkness brings relief from the blinding sun, from scorching heat, from exhausting labor. Night signals permission to rest, to be with our loved ones, to conceive new life, to search our hearts, to remember our dreams. The dark of winter is a time of hibernation. Seeds grow in the dark, fertile earth. The words black and dark don't need to be destroyed or ignored, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. The words white and light don't need to be destroyed or ignored either, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. Imagine a world that had only light or dark. We need both. Dark and light, light and dark. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and earth, the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while the wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. According to this Jewish creation myth, the known world started when light emerged from darkness. They were separated, and then one gave way to the other in a cycle that marked the beginning of time. What could be more basic and foundational than the interplay of light and dark? The ancient storytellers knew nothing about the Big Bang or black holes, but they certainly understood that even though form comes from void and order emerges from chaos, darkness remains to spawn new life. Indeed, our very own lives mirror this primordial pulse, for we were once part of the chaotic void, and to it we will return. So, if darkness is so fundamental to life, Why do we fear, shun, and disparage it like something to escape from? In our reading, Jackie James gave us numerous examples in our language and cultural symbols. Assigning negative and positive values to light and dark reinforces racism, excessive energy use, and fear of the unknown. It is so pervasive that we don't even think about it. But subconsciously, we feel safer around light. Well, part of the reason is because our human eyes are adapted to respond to the light of the sun. We are diurnal creatures as opposed to nocturnal, with natural biological rhythms that are synchronized for greater activity during the sunlight hours. As late as 150 years ago, no matter where you went, even in the cities, if you went out at night, you had to bring your own light. BYOL. Lighting in homes was much more localized around the candles and fireplaces. Like when the electricity gets knocked out sometimes when it's in the middle of a winter storm. Now, there would have been a lot more darkness all around you, especially in the winter months. The moon and the stars stood out in the evening sky, just like Thursday's cold moon. Did anyone get a chance to see that? Yeah, it was awesome. Dawn and twilight displayed their unencumbered mystery as light and dark wrestled with one another for controls of the skies. Day and night were separated as the Creator intended them. But certainly, things are much more different now. We have essentially flipped the equation. Dark areas have become the exception and places where most people don't want to go. And because we can, we have filled the night with light. In the process, we have scattered light all over the place without even thinking of the consequences to ourselves and the other inhabitants on this planet. We have polluted the night sky with wasteful light that is directed up and out rather than down. Just like climate change, light pollution disrupts the natural patterns affecting migration, feeding, health, and even reproduction. I was in Florida a couple of years ago during a week when thousands of sea turtle eggs hatched along the beaches. All the hotels were banned from shining their lights in the direction of the ocean. They even closed the outside bars. This is because we now understand that the little baby hatchlings use the moon and the starlight to direct themselves toward the ocean. Now, they only have a certain amount of time to make it from the beach to the safety of the water. And if man-made lights overpower the celestial bodies, the baby turtles may head toward land and perish. But what about us? Do we need to see the stars anymore? In almost all large cities around the world, the night sky has been replaced by an eerie orange glow. It's like a huge dome has been placed over us, blocking our view of the cosmos. We've become so over-attached to light that in the process, we run the risk of blinding ourselves to the mysteries of the unknown. I don't consider myself an astronomer. I don't even own a telescope. But every time I get a chance to spend the night somewhere far from the city lights, I get completely mesmerized by the multitude of stars that are out there. It's a view that I'm not used to seeing, so it always takes my breath away. That is what our ancestors saw when they walked out of their tents and their huts. In the Hebrew Bible, Yahweh promises Abraham a multitude of offspring like the stars in the heavens. That metaphor really wouldn't work anymore. But the ancients knew what it meant. Many Native American and African traditions believe that the stars represent their ancestors who came before them and are watching over them, guiding them in spirit. These beliefs seem natural when you gaze up at a star-filled sky and see shooting stars and the Milky Way that actually looks like milk. It's a humbling feeling that screams, it's not all about me. I am but one human among 8.2 billion on a tiny rock in this vast universe of countless suns, planets, and comets. We can read about astronomy and understand it intellectually, but when you see the immensity of the cosmos for yourself, even with the naked eye, and take it all in, your entire being, it changes your perspective about all those little things that we mull over as if they are the most important things in the world. So yes, I'd say that we do need to see the stars. We need to be constantly reminded that we are part of an interconnected cosmos, that we are made up of the same particles that are burning in every one of those pinpricks of light above us. But without darkness, we don't see the stars. We lose that unbelievable feeling of universal connection. We forget why our ancestors wrote mythology and legends about gods and goddesses who created this vastness. Darkness reminds us that maybe, just maybe, we are not alone in this universe. So in an ironic way, darkness reminds us that it's not all about us. 2 years ago, I went canoeing down the Potomac River near the District of Columbia between Great Falls and the Old Angler Inn. At night, with nothing more than the full moon to light my way. I was with a group led by an experienced guide, but still, the darkness added a heightened sense of danger, along with a closer connection to the universe. Here we were, in the suburbs of a large metropolitan city, and yet it felt like 1,000 miles from civilization. Thanks to the work of many people, the Potomac Gorge has remained a light wilderness area. So we put into the river in a shallow area and walked our boats right up to some rather swift rapids. We had to rely on each other to pass the boats down without falling or letting go of the canoes. The moon lit the area where we were, but right around every corner it was dark and obscured. The riverbanks were just shadows. So all our attention was focused on the flowing river and the stars above. When we got to a slow, calm stretch, I jumped into the water with my life jacket, and I held on to a rope that was connected to the canoe. Now, I had done this before during the daylight hours, but not at night. And at this time at night, the current seemed to hold me close, hug me like a good friend. I became one with the flowing river. Everything was so quiet and peaceful. Every tight muscle in my body relaxed. No one spoke. We were all lost in our separate meditations. When we did hit the rapids, the moonlight intensified the whitecaps, which probably added a little adrenaline rush. But I think the main feature of the trip was that we were forced to focus on the darkness. It wasn't in the background, it was all around us. Like a member of the group. Heck, we were floating in it. It reminded me of a Wendell Berry poem. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark. Go without sight. And find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. Barry is telling us that to know the dark, we must leave our own light behind and go without sight. And that runs completely counter to our comfort zone. He is calling us to experience the unknown with our entire being rather than rely on our senses and our preconceived certainties. Darkness, in and of itself, is simply the absence of light. But because we can't see in advance what we are getting into, we must face our fears of sudden surprises and unexpected revelations. So in a sense, it is the lack of control and the need to really bear down and focus which makes us uncomfortable about darkness. Wendell Berry's poem, his short poem, taps into the spiritual quality of religion that undoubtedly link light, dark, and God together for as long as humans have contemplated the unknowable mysteries of life. Judeo-Christian religion has always emphasized knowledge, especially divine knowledge through revelation. For example, in the beginning, God appears on the scene through the creation of light. God reveals themselves to the prophets and bestows their grace on humans as if shining a light. In his book, Faith Without Uncertainty, Unitarian Universalist theologian Paul Razor writes that in the doctrine of divine revelation, God self-discloses to human beings. Jesus is characterized as an incarnation of God, described as the light of the world. Scripture is understood as God's revealed word. Jesus and his apostles teach their followers to shine their lights of faith everywhere they go. Light is associated with divine truth. Then later in the modern world after the Age of Enlightenment, the emphasis on reason and rational deduction to reveal ideas that led to universal truths. Razor points out two examples of this. Descartes' affirmation of his existence as a thinking being, I think, therefore I am. And the empiricist theory that all knowledge is based on data received by our senses. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant used reason and logic to postulate concepts such as morality and even the existence of God. Then, in the postmodern world, which we are in now, we have lost our faith in absolute uncertainty or universal truths. Everything we know or experience is interpreted based on partial knowledge limited by our language, our culture, and our social location. I can't understand the universe or the divine the same way that any of you do. Liberal religion, especially Unitarian Universalism, embraces this uncertainty and encourages us to engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, wherever it may lead us. In other words, the once bright light of revelation and reason has had to make room for the murky twilight of experience and intuition. In our contemporary culture, all three of these ways of knowing, of seeing the world, coexist. Faith, reason, and uncertainty. We must make room for light, dark, and the in-between as we navigate our spiritual paths. I love that line in Barry's poem where he says that if we go dark, we will find that the dark too blooms and sings. When we allow ourselves to celebrate darkness, to rest within its cooling shadows, we open ourselves to the font of inspiration, creativity, and awe deep within every one of us. At times, we must also go to the dark places in our soul and sit with our fears and our grief to fully engage life with all its mysteries and wonders. Carl Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Now let me say that again. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Just as we can blind and delude ourselves with constant light, we can certainly lose our way in perpetual darkness. Whether we are diurnal or nocturnal creatures, we all require the passing from light to dark and back again to be whole. We need both, and we need one to appreciate the other. Imagine the scenario where you are looking out of your window at night, trying to see something outside. You could turn on an outside light and shine down on what you see, but unless you use a lot of light dispersed over a wide area, all you really see is the thing that you're looking at. But if you turn off the lights in your room and let your eyes adjust to the darkness, you can not only see the dim light that is reflecting off of your subject, but you can also see the context and the surroundings that envelop the subject. Suddenly, what you are looking at doesn't stand out, it stands with, in relation to everything else, including the natural light and the darkness of the environment. So yes, there is light and darkness in everything. And if you overpower the world with your own light through certainty, self-absorption, and fear, you run the risk of missing the dark feet and the dark wings of new discoveries. Finding that right balance of light and dark and venturing into the shadows of ambiguity enables us to focus outward where all the interconnections of life abound. So may we live into our religion as a place where the uncertainties of dawn and twilight are celebrated. May we never lose our ability to be awed and amazed by the hidden beauty around us. And may we learn to appreciate the intrinsic value of both light and darkness in our lives and in the lives of others. Que así sea, may it be so. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able to sing hymn number 275. 275, Joyful is the Dark, in our great hymn. We will sing 3 verses. The first 3, I guess? Yes. The first 3 verses. Oh, yes, there's 5. The first 3 verses.
Oh
be seated. We take time for members and friends to briefly share a deep joy or sorrow that you would ask us to hold with you. A microphone will be brought to you. Yeah, all right. So like I said, a microphone will be brought to you. Candles located in the side windows may be lit at any time during the service to express unvoiced joys and sorrows. Please note that this is not a time for personal or political announcements. We care for each other by being present and attentive to each other's authenticity. We also care for each other by our brevity. So please state your joy or concern or sorrow directly from your heart. One very great joy that we feel today is to have visitors to All Souls. And during this time, we warmly invite you, any visitors, to introduce yourself. While this is not required, we would love the opportunity to welcome you.
I have another gig, so I'm going to bolt.
Great leg.
Break a wishbone. Oh, we'll do it during announcements, yeah. Who would like to share?
I know. I've often watched people take it and turn it off by mistake. My name's Karen Schaefer, and I have such a joy. And I talked to my daughter drove me here today, and my daughter just is the best daughter anyone could ever have. And she does all of these things to make my life easier, such as I have a number of shoes that require being tied. And she got me these wonderful boots that you step into. She ordered this new pair of shoes that are called Skeechers, but they're too tight. And I said, you know, you always have to order size 7 in men's shoes to be wide enough to fit my foot. I have a very wide foot, like an elephant foot. Anyway, and so she's now going to order that, and she's got these warm boots that I can step into. And she just spends all of her time thinking about how to make my life most comfortable. And the reason why she didn't stay for service was that she is going out shopping for ingredients that's been running in the New York Times about cookies. And so she's buying ingredients. And last Sunday, or maybe it was the Sunday before, I bought banana bread that was from a mix. And she said, you don't need to buy that mix. I can show you how to make banana bread from scratch. The only problem is that it's not gluten-free, banana.
You can't have everything, Karen, but you got a heck of a daughter, that's for sure. And I can see these are pretty nice shoes, too. Who else would like to share?
I'm Maggie Sadoway, and that talk was an utter joy and delight, and I'm thrilled to have heard it. And it took me straight back to the 1970s when my husband and I spent many years living in Greece, and one summer the pinnacle experience, one of the pinnacle experiences of my life, was spending an entire summer, basically by chance, in a farming community on an island that had no electricity. And we learned so many things that you touched on, like when we were trying to walk through the riverbed to get back to our house, which was actually a little stable. It was easier to see where we were going in the darkness if we turned off our flashlights. So I could talk for a long time about sleeping on the rooftop there and seeing Andromeda and galaxies. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's a good month to make your home in a stable.
Hi, I'm Robin. I just want to share that I have been dealing with a lot of back pain and sciatica, and I'm getting support and taking care of myself, and I started swimming at the Y, which is what I did before the service. So I'm celebrating that I'm doing that, and the way that I'm taking care of myself and getting support, and also asking for support for me to get better.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Russ. I just got a text that a friend of mine in Shelburne Falls is 76. He had a fall, and he lives on the second floor, and he's in the hospital now. She said he's okay, but he's going to be going to rehab. He's not the healthiest guy, but he's one of my best friends, and I'm concerned. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm like to light a candle for Molly, who is at Charlene Manor right now, and I'm sure she would love visitors.
Not only that, but right across the hall is where Robin is, also in Charlene Manor. And you might want to know that Essie Chambers, the famous author, is visiting her mom once a month for a week. Great opportunity to bring your copy of Swift River for her signature.
Matt, do we have anyone on Zoom?
We do. This morning we have a joy to share this week from Christy G, who has this to say. Her joy has been watching the exuberance of their 7-year-old granddaughter from Florida as she experienced her first snowstorm.
I just want to light a candle of gratitude for the kindness of others. You know, it's been 6 weeks since SNAP had a disruption, and the outpouring of support and care from the community has been unprecedented for the cafe. And even yesterday, there was a quilt sale here that I had no idea about. It's just the kindness of others that keep creating pathways forward and support for our community that I'm so, so grateful for.
Ditto. Will you light a candle of sorrow that I am strangely almost speechless over? My beloved daughter is just dissolving into such despair. It's more painful than I can put into words, but I keep praying and keep trusting that deep down she's really resilient and something will shift. And on a little more uplifting note, Doug, your sermon reminded me of a short quote from a brilliant songsmith named David Wilcox. If it wasn't for the night, so dark and cold this time of year, would the stars ever shine so bright, so beautiful, so clear?
For the joys and sorrows of family, of friends in need, of the kindness of the community, and for all of those joys and sorrows that we have in our hearts, I now invite us into a time of silent reflection. Spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward one another, seeking to hold in our hearts all our joys and sorrows, both spoken and unspoken. Please join in singing Prayer to Friends, which you can find on the insert in front of your hymnal. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark. Go without sight. And find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. We extinguish this flame and make room in our hearts for the light of truth and the peace of darkness, for the warmth of community and the coolness of solitude, for the fire of commitment and the inner inspiration of wisdom. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So go in peace, serve the world, and return in love.
Nice touch.
We're going to do that every Sunday. We're going to have you play under from the beginning to the end of service.
We have a moment or two of announcements. So the first is this Thursday is December 11th. On the 11th of every month at 11 o'clock, we ring the bells for the 11th hour of climate crisis. So we love to have a few people here ringing the bells on that Thursday. Also, on the 11th, we're having a potluck party. Specifically, the membership committee is hosting it, and we invite folks, especially newcomers, to come for this. It's in the order of worship, and I also have some little flyers to give you.
Can you come with me?
Tuesday. You're right, thank you. And then the 11th is Thursday. That helps. That helps. Anybody else have any announcements?
On the 14th here, Jim Levinson's going to be leading a service that really picks up some of what Kirsten and others have been saying about acts of kindness. And he'd really welcome you to give a little thought to some unsung hero sometime when you either experienced the generosity of another person, or maybe a time when you yourself were the one that offered some help, because he'd love to interweave some of those true moments of grace in with his service. The following day, the 15th, there'll be lots of kindness and grace, I hope, at our board meeting. I'm pretty sure, am I right?
So you should meet here and have doctors.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're meeting here.
So we're going to meet here Monday night at 7, and if anybody would like to just check out what it's like at our exciting, totally engrossing board meetings, you're very welcome to come by. First time is free.
You're gonna play your violin. I want you to play your violin.
Thank you. I just wanted to announce that the Franklin County Community Chorus, of which Rocky is a member, is having their Christmas concert at 3 o'clock, Greenfield High School. It's donations accepted, whatever you can kick in, because they have to buy their own music and rent the hall and all that. It's always a packed house, so I think if you want to go, you should get there before 3. And the show is top-notch. It's always a great mood booster, and the enthusiasm is infectious. So I highly encourage you to go. 3 o'clock.
Okay, a couple of announcements. I'm going to put my stone soup hat on first. So on December 15th, we will have our community soup night. It happens on the third Mondays from October through May. And this time, we've been kind of theming these. So last month was Mangia a Tutti, and it was a memory of Al Ciano, who was a great member of our community. And this time it's Hanukkah, so we're going to be frying latkes, and there'll be soup, and that's from 5 to 7. All are welcome. I do believe there will be a group from Deerfield Academy here, so there will be people of all ages and stages. So you're welcome to be there. And then if you're a board member, you could eat your latkes and then, go have a good meeting too. The next night, on December 16th, still have my stone soup hat on, we have been hosting a series in partnership with the Basic Solidarity Economies program at UMass called Solidarity Workshops. And we will be hosting Redistro. Redistro is a nonprofit that's working here in Greenfield and Franklin County to reutilize and recycle those things that have use still. And in a consumeristic world, looking at mutual aid and solidarity and reuse will be discussed. That will happen, again, I think it's 5 to 7, I'll double check it, but dinner is served along with a presentation and conversation discussion with Redistro. Okay, now I'm gonna put my All Souls hat on. Okay, that's December 16th. So dinner 2 nights in a row from Stone Soup is basically the gist, you get it? We had the Poor People's Army last month. We had to actually put a sign on our door. We had over 110 people downstairs. So I don't expect that for Redistro. However, one never knows, do one? Now I'm going to put my All Souls hat on and just say I am going to do the service on December 21st. It's Welcome Yule and Solstice, and it's going to be a lot of poetry and song, which means all of you have to bring your voices and your friends, because I think it's more fun when we all sing together. So I'm just putting a plug in now for December 21st service. Laura will be the musician. We're going to have a good time. Come be with us. Who's the next one on announcements? Mic drop? Have some coffee. Don't forget to stay for the safety meeting, folks.